What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com, and in today's video I'm going to walk you through the dispute process. If you have negative information on your credit reports, if you have information that has been very difficult for you to be able to get it removed due to it being inaccurate, unfair, ID theft, whatever that information is, what I want to do is I want to walk you through the dispute process that we use here at the Credit Repair Shop, and this will actually help you with your situation if you want to try to do this yourself. Now, I have something in my hand. I cannot tell you where it's from because maybe I'm not supposed to have this information. Maybe someone in Congress gave me this information, so I'm able to help you out. Just kidding. But this information, I can't put a link to it because technically this is a report that was, somehow I got my hands on it, and I don't want to mess up anything with having this information. But inside of this information, it talks about the dispute process that all of the credit reporting agencies and the furnishers are supposed to go by, but it also had some information in there about the problems and the reasoning why there's so many issues with the credit reporting agencies and the furnishers. So my screen, for some reason, I wanted to have parts of this that I am able to show on my screen, but for some reason the PDF is not bringing up a PDF on here, so I didn't want to delay and not have this information to you. So we all know that the Fair Credit Reporting Act allows you to have a dispute process. Everybody knows about disputes. Everybody knows about that. When you send in a dispute, they have to do an investigation. Furnishers have to get the information. They have to report back. But for some reason, the more people that know about this information, the more that Congress tries to do to make this process easier for the consumer, the more that we see companies that might be kind of skirting the rules. You see the credit reporting companies skirting the rules, that it just seems to be getting worse. It seems to be getting worse. And I believe that one of the reasons why it seems to be worse is because people are not actually utilizing the dispute process the right way. And then also people quit too fast. So I always want to throw that in. When I'm talking about doing a job on something that has to be done, is that I always try to get people to understand that it's going to be a process, that it's not going to be something that's overnight. Now, you may have results that are fast, depending on your specific situation, but the average is not going to have that. Now, when I talk about averages, let me relate this to you, because when people, they think of their situation as like they're the lottery ticket, but then when they know that it's like a 1 in a billion chance that you're going to win the lottery, but people still buy that ticket. But here's the good news. No matter what you do with that ticket, no matter how hard you work for everything on that ticket, your numbers still have to be chosen by somebody else. With repairing your credit, with the dispute process that is available for all of us to utilize, even if you lose one time, you have a chance of winning if you continue the process. If you continue the process, and I'm going to show you right here on this board, I'm going to walk you through what they're saying off of what they're seeing as problems on what is not being done by the bureaus. And there was a report also released by by Representative Clyburn that went into this also, but I'm even going to go even further into it. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how we utilize this information to dispute the inaccurate, negative information on our clients' reports. Now, the first thing, which is everybody knows about this, is that CRAs must complete an investigation within 30 days of receiving a notice of dispute from the consumer. Now, we know that 30 days has turned to 45 days. And under the national emergency with COVID, it was actually 60 to 90 day. They had a 60 to 90 day waiver on there, a 60 to 90 day waiver. So a lot of people that were going through and trying to repair their credit during COVID, we would tell people, but sometimes people just didn't understand. They thought that they could be under a national emergency, but the bureaus had robots in there working and they were not under a national emergency. No, the bureaus had employees working in there too that could be exposed to COVID. They had to spread people out. Some people didn't come in. I don't know exactly what was going on there, but we know that the process was slowed down and that there was a waiver given by the federal government of a 60 to 90 day window. Now, we could see in Rep. Clyburn's report that they took full advantage of that, and some people were not getting results for 6 months. And they stopped mailing out the results. It was very important to have a paid credit monitoring service because they were actually utilizing digital to update the results. That was a loophole that they found. They was like, well, if we can't have people in the mailroom, we don't have to send people the results because we're under this national emergency. What is a loophole that we could utilize to stay within the law of getting people the information from the results, but not get us in trouble? And the loophole was they just going to get the information mailed to people. So we know this is the baseline. This is where everything starts after you've produced your letters. This is where everything starts, is that the bureaus have 30 to 45 days to initiate a response back on the dispute that you gave them. Now, here's the next line. In conducting the investigation, this credit reporting agencies must review and consider all relevant information submitted by the consumer. So they have to consider. So remember in my video where I talked about that, so they review relevant info. So remember when I talked about in my previous video where I said you have to get it in their hands to where it's going to be something that's going to be reviewed. Because if you don't do this part right, what's going to end up happening is that they're going to just send out TransUnion call it a 502 letter, where they're just going to send out a letter and it's going to say that it's verified. And this is where a lot of people get upset because they're like, I know that this information is incorrect, but they keep sending it back verified. That's because when you sent your document, so you have document number 1, document number 2, depending on what you said in there. And remember, I've always said that when you're sending out your disputes, that everything isn't about the law. Even though we're talking about the law, when doing a dispute, especially from an individual, everything at first is not about the law. It's about the information that you want to have looked at. You're trying to initiate an investigation. From what I've seen from results and how we're getting better results for our clients, is that you don't jump to the law first. They know the law. What they're looking at is to see if this information is relevant and should we put it in the no pile, which goes here to verify, or should we put this into the yes pile to do an investigation? And that's where you want to get it there. Now, the way that you do that, you have to construct your letters. I don't have the time to go into that in this video. I'm just giving you the upfront information based off of this report that I got my hands on. Now, the next thing is within 5 days, and we see that this is something that they did seem to just disregard. Within 5 days of receiving the dispute, the credit reporting agency must notify the furnisher of the dispute and include all relevant information that the CRA received from the consumer. So let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. If you're quoting laws to investigate, what is your reasoning behind the CRA, credit reporting agency, to do the review of relevant information and to forward that over to the furnisher? What are you saying that would get them to say, yes, this is relevant, rather than just putting it in that no pile and saying verify, because they do have that option, or getting it into the yes hands to where that's going to be sent over to the furnisher? See, they have the option. They have the option not to send this to the furnisher. That blows a lot of people's mind when I tell them that. They say, well, no matter what, they have to review the information and they have to get it over to the furnisher within 5 days. But what you're forgetting, and it states it right here in the report, is that within 5 days of receiving the dispute, the CRA must notify the furnisher of the dispute and include all relevant information that the CRA received from the consumer. If they do not believe, because you got to go up a line, this is done in order, the CRA must complete the CRA must complete a reinvestigation within 30 days after receiving the notice of a dispute from the consumer. In conducting the reinvestigation, the CRA must review and consider all relevant information submitted by the consumer. So they are determining if it makes it to this level. The CRA, according to what Congress gives them as a right, is that they determine if it's going to make it down there. They determine that. So now let's move forward. After receiving a dispute from a CRA, a furnisher must take the following steps. So now let's get to the following steps. Now keep following me. Wake yourself up, because I know this might be like class, but you know, when you was in school, you learned to read, you learned your mathematics, all of that stuff. Sometimes you just got to absorb it. You got to wake yourself up, clap your hands, stand up, pause the video, get something to drink, come back to it, watch the video over and over. You got to do that, because I'm telling you, this is what we do here. And no, absolutely no, I do not give you letters on this. Watch this video. I'm telling you the gold nuggets in this video on how you can construct your letters. Now, after receiving a dispute from a CRA, a furnisher must take the following steps. They must conduct an investigation with respect to all disputed information. So, they must conduct an investigation. Here we go. I lost my line here. Conducting an investigation with respect to all disputed information. So now, if it doesn't pass from the credit reporting agencies to the furnishers, they will never make this investigation. And the thing that you must keep in mind, which is in this report, which shows why there's a breakdown in this whole system, is that the CRA and the furnisher, what is their relationship with each other? What is their relationship with each other? They're married to each other. The CRA customer is the furnisher. Customer. What do businesses do for their customers. They do what's in their best interest, that you would want them to do that. We know that for sure the CRAs do their, I don't want to use a cuss word, but they do their damnedest to make sure that the furnishers are able to continue furnishing them information, because that's the way that they make money. When furnishers put data, when furnishers run for credit information, when furnishers do anything, that money goes over to the CRAs. This is the circle. Like, they feed each other. They just feed each other. So if it doesn't make it to the furnisher to do an investigation, what happens? That's what everybody complains about. So if it doesn't get to the furnisher to conduct an investigation, what happens? It comes back verified. Also, what happens, according to the report? Furnisher keeps paying the CRA. Relationship is all good. Hey, we verified that information. We just believe that what you gave us the first time was good enough, and we just sent back that it was verified. So now the next step is that the furnisher must review all relevant information provided by the CRA. The next thing is report the results of the investigation to the credit reporting agency, the CRA. The next thing is, if the investigation finds that the information is incorrect or inaccurate, or if the information is incomplete or inaccurate, report those results to all nationwide CRAs to which the furnisher reported the information. And then complete the investigation before the end of a 30-day period that the CRA has no, they had a mistake on here. CRA has to complete its reinvestigation. So complete the investigation before the end of the 30-day period. Yeah. So when they get the information, so when the furnisher gets the information, we'll take away this verified. When the furnisher gets the information, they have to reply back within that 30 days to the CRAs. So by the rule, if you go by the book, which we know it's not working, is that all of this is supposed to happen within the 30 days. Now, we know that this is the way that it works from, there's theory on the way it's supposed to work, but this is the way that it really works, is that furnishers are going to make updates to their information. They're going to upload their information, all the data changes, all of the payment history, everything. They're going to do that once a month. They're going to do it once a month. So what they'll do is they'll have their file, and that file might have this information where it was something that was disputed. And then they're going to upload that file to the CRAs, to the credit reporting agencies, and it'll have that update. So even though they have 30 days to make that change, and that the 30 days is supposed to be done with the CRA within the CRA's period of time, they're also supposed to complete their investigation. What they end up doing is they just say, okay, we do our upload once a month. Like we're in the business of making loans. We're not in the business of sitting here trying to update files all the time. That's why when like we just did a recent there was a recent I think I had it on a video where we verification was done directly with the furnisher. We didn't even it wasn't through the CRAs. It was directly to the furnisher. They said that they do not have the information to continue coming after this individual for the money, and that they were going to remove it off the credit reports. And they said give them 30 additional days to do it. So it's really in theory it's supposed to be within that 30 days. Actually, when it's a regular business application, it's done when the company uploads their file to the CRA. So let's go right here. If the CRA finds during the investigation, they say reinvestigation process, even though it was during the regular process, from the initial dispute. During the reinvestigation process that a disputed item is inaccurate, incomplete, or cannot be verified, and you can see that they added on cannot be verified, the CRA must delete or modify the item no later than 5 days after the completion of the reinvestigation. A CRA must provide written notice to the consumer the result of the investigation. The notice must include a statement of the reinvestigation, a statement that the reinvestigation is completed, a consumer report based on the consumer's file, if that file has been revised as a result of the investigation. So we see that is the complete dispute process. So if you just broke down exactly what I was telling you in this video, you would be able to have a series of letters that would be put together that would allow you to be able to get the job done on repairing your credit. This is exactly what we do with the credit repair shop. The only difference is that we have a two-phase settlement system. Other credit repair companies are just going to be disputing information, and we're not about just disputing information that is considered accurate that you have to pay. What we would do is we would do a verification to make sure if the item has been submitted to the IRS for 1099-C, or if it's been sold to a collector, then that means that the original creditor has been paid, and they either need to mark that item paid on that and take it from a write-off to a paid account because they actually received money for that account. A lot of people don't even know that you can do that. So and then the next step is, if that item is verified that you do have to pay it, and some items will come back verified that you have to pay, then you move into a settlement phase, and during that settlement phase you look at the removal. But even if they don't want to remove, you will be able to get it removed because that information will be outdated, and based upon the way that they take payment on that you never had an account with them, that you would be able to submit that information to have that information removed, because technically the way that they would show the account, even if it's from a third-party debt collection company where you're just like, hey, I want to move forward, I used to have this account, they have an excellent settlement offer on the table, but I want to have it removed, and they might say, well, we don't want to remove it, even though most of them will. But say that they won't remove it, you would still be able to utilize the information from your settlement to show that this type of account that they're saying that you had would have to be removed. That's why you got to be very careful when you look at how collections are laying on your credit report. They actually make mistakes on there that would actually be able to get the account removed. But depending on your situation, you could go to court, and if they try to sue you in court and you don't respond to them appropriately, you could end up having to pay that debt collector. So you have to be very careful, but you can get it removed off of your credit reports, really based that you've never had that type of account with that company. So let's review it real quick. From the top. And also I got another tab where I want to go over something. I don't want to forget that about the dispute process, about the rate of disputes. Okay, so the first thing, get your pen and paper ready. Get this first thing. So, and this is creating letters. You're creating letters that gets this point across. So the first thing is, CRAs must complete a reinvestigation. Now, when they say reinvestigation, it is actually because they already have the information on there. So when you send a dispute, it's considered a reinvestigation of information. So a reinvestigation of within 30 days after receiving the notice of dispute from the consumer. The next thing, in conducting the reinvestigation, CRAs must review and consider all relevant information submitted by the consumer. So make sure that your information is written with relevancy, not with the law. Because if you just had the law, they're gonna be like, well, we know the law. Give us relevant information that will make us forward it to the Furnisher to have this thing investigated. Because we have the right as a CRA, that's how they're thinking, is that we had a right as a credit reporting agency not to forward them any information that we don't deem relevant. Within 5 business days of receiving the dispute, the CRAs must notify the furnisher of the dispute and include all relevant information that the CRAs receive from the consumer. All relevant information received from the consumer within 5 business days. After receiving a dispute before I move forward on that, remember, so we have 30 days in theory. We know it's 45 days. But when you mail that information to them, don't think that just because you dropped it in the mail, the 30 days start right there. You have business days, you got weekends. So we already know in the way that it's like practical, the way it works for business, the way that they say it's in theory 30 days, but we know in application that it is not 30 days, it's more than 30 days. After reviewing a dispute from a CRA, credit reporting agency, a furnisher must take the following steps. Conduct an investigation with respect to the disputed information. Review all relevant information provided by the CRA, credit reporting agency. Report the results of the investigation to the credit reporting agency. If the investigation finds that the information is incomplete or inaccurate, report those results to all nationwide CRAs, which we know that doesn't always happen, to which the furnisher reported the information, and complete the investigation before the end of the 30-day period that the CRA has to complete its reinvestigation. If the credit reporting agency finds that the reinvestigation that a disputed item is inaccurate, incomplete, or cannot be verified, the CRA must delete or modify the item no later than 5 days after the completion of the reinvestigation. A CRA must provide written notice to the consumer of the results of the investigation. The notice must include a statement that the reinvestigation is completed, a consumer report based on the consumer's file, if the file has been revised as a result of the investigation. When I was reading through that, the thing that caught my attention is that there is an option, and this has happened with some of my clients also, where when you submit the dispute to be investigated with the credit reporting agency, that they can actually look at the reports and see that the information cannot be accurate. This is one of the things that you need to look for on your reports. Here, let me give you a little nugget. When you're I see this a lot with collection agencies. Collections agencies, they will just have collections on there. They'll just say collection. They won't even have a company, the collection. And then if you have a paid monitoring service, that's why it's very important to get a paid credit monitoring service. And you go down, you flip down all the way to the bottom, at least it has it on the ones that we provide. It will have the furnisher's information on there. One test that you could do is you could send a letter to that furnisher, and if that letter comes back to you, you already have proof that the information on your credit report, even additional, this is additional proof. This is like taking it a step further that they claim that they take, but you're actually like doing the work because you want to get this stuff done. And this is what we do at the Credit Repair Shop. So you look at your credit reports and it has a furnisher and it just says collection on there. And you're like, well, collection with who? With what? And then you scroll down and you'll see in the furniture items, it'll say collection and it'll have an address, might have a phone number. So what you do is you write to them and you say, well, you have this on my credit report and I never did any business with you. I want to know what this whole thing is about. Now, you might be afraid saying like, well, I'm going to be waking up this collection agency to try to come after me. Well, you're going to have to do that anyway to fight against them, and you got to do that to get your stuff cleared. So if you want to repair your credit, you got to make a decision. Are you ready to repair your credit, or are you just halfway ready to repair your credit? Go all in and you're going to get the job done. So what we found when we started doing that was that letters were coming back undeliverable. So already somehow information was inserted onto your credit report from an undeliverable mailing address from a furnisher. This furnisher that has an undeliverable address is putting that information on your credit reports. The CRAs, the credit reporting agencies, are allowing unverified furnisher to put information on your credit reports. And so we already know, and I talked about that relationship, how could something like that happen when it is unverifiable even with an address? How can something like that happen? Well, I already pointed out how that can happen. So what you have to do is, like, you're doing additional work just to be able to get the job done, but this is stuff that we do here, is where we get that information to build the relevant, what did it say here? Inside of here it says, in conducting the reinvestigation, the CRAs must review and consider all relevant information submitted by the consumer. Wouldn't you think that having an undelivered piece of mail from a furnisher who is supposed to be able to have your personal information and put information on your credit report to hurt you from being able to potentially get a loan, to drop your credit scores, which that shows harm, they're able to do that in their address that they listed with the credit reporting agency at the bottom of their report, and they're supposed to be the one who goes to the locations of these companies to be able to allow them to put information on the credit report, and it was an unverifiable address. So let me just break something down. I mean, I'm sorry, this is a long video, but let me show you something. Let me show you something. You may not know this. Let me show you something. When a company, let me fix this on my again. When a company wants to report credit information to the bureaus, so you have the CRAs, the credit reporting agencies, and they have all the data. This is where all the data is kept. And then you have a company, and they want to report data. They want to report data. Sometimes it's required. Sometimes they want to report data because they want to be able to, if it's a collection agency, they want to be able to report that data to kind of force an individual into paying them. So did you know that for this company to be able to report data, the CRAs, before they do it, they have to do a site. They have to do a site visit. You can't just say and fill out information and say, I want to report data to the bureaus. No, you have to have a site visit. And there's companies that do the site visits. And in the past, the CRAs used to do it, but it's kind of like an insurance company. I mean, like how the insurance companies, there's services where they'll just have someone come out and do a site visit. I remember for my building that I'm in now, for the insurance company, like they had someone come do a site visit when it was still under construction, and they were like, we're not going to insure your building for $1.2 million. It's tore up all on the inside. And we were like, I told the insurance agent that we were kind of working on the building, and they were like, oh, okay. But they sent out someone for a site visit. Nobody's gonna, allow someone to say, hey, this building is worth this amount of money and insure it without having someone come and look. Number one, make sure a building is there. They're gonna send somebody. And so what they do is they send someone to do a site visit with the company. And then if they approve them, then they get the ability to send up the data. And what they do is there's certain programs that they use. Metro 2 was one that I'm familiar with, They uploaded the data into there, and this the reason why I know that they do it on a once a month basis, because when I spoke to a company that came to me about reporting for one of my other businesses that I have that we do give credit to people, is that they were like, well, we can make sure that your vendors pay you, because if you give them credit, you can upload your data using Metro 2 format. That was a while back. It might be Metro 3 or 4. I don't know what it might be now. But you can upload your data to the bureaus, and you can do that once a month. Like, all you do is you put it on a file, and you upload it through us. We're a service provider for it. And so, but he specifically said that you got to have a site visit. That somebody's going to come out, make sure that you're a real business, make sure that you're in the business that you're claiming you're in, or it's not going to work. Now, I know that there's always loopholes. There's some of these collection agencies, they're doing things that able to report, and some of the places are like a hole in the wall. I mean, not to talk down on the company, but some of the places I've seen where we had to walk in payments for clients, to be able to resolve it right away so they wouldn't have to go to court. Some of those places that we saw, I mean, it was, you would think that if the credit reporting agencies came through, that they might think that it was a little suspect with the way that they were doing business in there. But I don't know, that relationship between them, because every piece of data that is submitted, every line of data, that's money. Every line of data is money. So when you have that relationship, sometimes, the scales can get unbalanced. All right, before I conclude, there was another item in this report that had stated the results of the disputes. And it said that results of disputes. So it said that processed through eOscar, it had per data Furnisher, and it said 53.64% made it to the Furnishers. So for all of the disputes that went through, only 53.64% made it to them. Information verified as reported, 22.37%. Data deleted per data Furnisher direction, 17.74%. Data deleted due to Furnisher not responding within the 30-day period, 6.27. So if you have a large amount of Furnishers that are not responding in the 30-day period of time, that's why, I mean, the proof is in the pudding here in the report. If it says that the Furnisher did not respond within a 30-day period of time, which we know that there's leeway on that, only 6.27% was deleted. So that means that the credit reporting agencies did not actually do the investigation. Even when they submitted it to the Furnisher, and the Furnisher did not get the information back to them to say, hey, this is wrong, the credit reporting agencies took it upon themselves that's a little over 94%, and 94% of the dispute cases, they decided on their own not to remove the information. So you can see already from this report, that you could be in for the long haul. That's what I always prepare the customers, that you can be in for the long haul, because that really caught my attention. So it said data deleted due to Furnisher not responded within the 30-day period. So let's just review. If you're submitting relevant information, and that relevant information made it past that quote unquote quick verification, like it was enough information in there, to relevant information to where they submitted it to the Furnisher. Like we try to protect you. This is the CRA. We try to protect you, but man, what they got in this letter, you need to take a look at it, because we want to know, we want you to investigate this. And they felt that it was good enough to get it to the Furnisher, And the Furnisher didn't even respond. So check it out. Follow me. The credit reporting agency felt good enough that the dispute was relevant enough to get it to the Furnisher, which is the regular process that we always want to go through. And the Furnisher did not respond to that relevant investigation document within the 30-day period of time, which is required, but we know it goes a little bit further. Only 6.27% of the information was deleted from the consumer's report, which on the flip side, over 94% of the unverified, inaccurate, incomplete data that was on consumers' credit reports, according to this report here that I'm reading from the FTC to Congress, was deleted. Only 6.27%, over 94% of the inaccurate information was inaccurate, incomplete, unverifiable information that was submitted directly to the Furnishers from their friend, the credit reporting agencies, did not get deleted. So we know what we're up against when trying to repair people's credit, and you now know what you're up against when you're trying to repair your credit. All right, if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports in all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters and please make a donation. When you do it, helps me monetize my time making the videos here for you on the channel. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel. Please post